Hey everyone, Basil with Clockit, and today is the weekend. We are on a Saturday. Just a quick update onto something which I did long back and that massively backfired. So I'm going to speak about the AWS RDS service, specifically the blue-green deployment. Um, so when you look at that, the last update that I had on something to do with AWS was 10 years back. I think it's the right time to jump into something with AWS. I'm going to keep this video, the old one, just in case you would like to see how much the UI and UX for AWS has improved over the years. This is a good flashback to see that. Okay, let's jump into the topic for today, which is the blue-green deployment on AWS RDS. So about 3 to 4 months back, we decided that we wanted to update our MySQL version to the latest MySQL 8 and the Aurora version 3. And to do that, we had to update the DB instance, and only then could we update the Aurora to the latest. So a lot of things have changed in AWS with RDS, and they came out with this feature known as the blue-green deployment, which basically is the blue instance is your production instance, which you're currently running all your production workload on. You create a green instance, which is essentially a clone of that instance. And once you test everything and everything's working perfectly, you just tell AWS to move all the traffic from the blue instance, which is your production instance, into your new green instance. It's as simple as that. And what could possibly go wrong, right? You may think, but everything went wrong for us that day. Let me just explain what happened and what we did to recover. So you can very easily launch a blue-green deployment. All you do is you come into Actions from your AWS database window, and you can start a blue-green deployment, which is over here. Now, when we did this, we got the green replica instance, and what we were doing was we waited for the replication between both the instance to complete, which went perfectly well. We had no issues there whatsoever. And additionally, what I was doing was I was looking at the database logs to make sure that any data that was coming into the green instance had no issues. And our logs looked perfect. Then what we did, we connected our QA instance for the product to the green, which is your second test instance, and we started testing the product. Everything still works. You can log in into using the QA environment. We were able to log in. We were able to run all the features that we have with Clockit. The reports were running perfectly. Everything looked okay. But what we failed to realize was the green instance was essentially only a read instance. So we were able to read data of the database. We are not permitted to write back into the DB. So what we were doing essentially was looking at our logs to make sure that everything was fine. We had no issues there. QA environment was working perfectly. And it was a Sunday that we decided, because that's the day that we have the lowest traffic on the website. We decided to do the switch over from the blue to the green. Now, the minute we did the switchover, as AWS promised, it's a 1-minute process. Everything went through. Our new green environment has become live on AWS. All our production workloads started going to the green, which is the new green, or the new production instance. So AWS manages the endpoints so that you don't have to make any changes in your application. All of it worked perfectly. But that's when the problem started. For some reason, we were not able to write to the database, and it was giving us constant errors. Okay, should be fair enough. We can just roll back into the previous instance, and this is where you get stuck. AWS does not allow you to go back to the previous instance that you just switched over from. So now what do? Your new instance is just not working. Your old instance is there, but not usable. So what you do in that case is you have your old instance which is there, which AWS says you would have to manually delete it once you're done with your migration. You take your old instance, you create a read replica out of it with your old database parameters, and then you promote your old database, you promote the read replica into master, and then now you have an instance with a new endpoint. You go back into your production code and you update the endpoint, and that's the only way you can recover from this. You can recover easily. It takes only about 5 minutes for this entire process, depending on your database size. But trust me when I tell you, for us to find the solution, it took us a good hour or 2 hours, because every time you try to replicate, read replica, promote it to a master, all of this takes time. So the easy steps is just go ahead and create a read replica, promote it to master, use the new endpoint, put it into your production code, and you would be completely okay. You can recover. Now, what was the issue that happened was MySQL 8 has the new reserved keyword list, and group is a new reserved keyword. Now, we use the term group in our production code because we have the groups and permissions, which are settings inside our product to give access to different kind of users while using the product. And that keyword group is what caused this issue. So my recommendation is, if you would like to do a blue-green deployment, that's perfectly fine. But clone your database completely, create a new instance, test with both read and write, then look at your logs. And once you're satisfied that everything is working, then go do the blue-green deployment. Do not do it before that.